Hello, welcome people, and welcome to anyone who is watching this back after the live show. This one is we're going to chat kind of just briefly about Dawnshard. It's quite short, even though there's a lot in it, but we're just going to kind of briefly touch on it a little bit and then jump into Rhythm of War, the fourth and so far last book that's out in the Stormlight Archive. I'm joined by Margaret. Her TikTok should be linked down below, and Sophia and her channel should also be linked down below if you want to go check their stuff out, follow them. But it's been a long time coming. This has felt like a long lead up to this book. Let's start a little bit with Dawnshard, because I feel like Dawnshard was a bit more universally well received than Edge Dancer, in my opinion. Just I feel like people tended to enjoy it more because I think of the characters in this one versus the character. I think it's more because of the character in Edge Dancer. It's a unique character of Lift. Oh, by the way, this is spoilers. We are not even going to start non-spoilery. We're in book 4 at this point. It's all spoilers. So yes, Dawnshard. Overall, what are your guys' general feelings about it?
I really enjoyed Dawnshard. I'm definitely a Lift hater, which I didn't realize so many people. I didn't know that was so divisive. I thought everyone hated her universally. That's not true. So I really disliked Edge Dancer. So I would say this is definitely my favorite novella. And I remember when I read it the first time, I just like that it's a little snack size Stormlight. I found it so much fun to read, to be in the world and so immersed in. It felt like reading a sequel, but it was so short. And so I love it for that. And I found it fascinating. I feel like even on reread, don't understand fully what happened, but I had time.
Yeah.
I need to read a summary of this book, I think.
No, agreed.
So I've only read it once. I'm actually currently rereading it. So I started my reread of Stormlight this month, and I'm on to Dawnshard now. About probably halfway through it. So I haven't got to the confusing bits yet. But I remember being deeply confused by it the first time. So I'm hoping to be slightly less confused by it this time, at least. And so far I am enjoying it. I always find the low pen quite amusing. And I really like Rissin as a character as well. So I'm enjoying more from her, because we see her a few times in the series before this, and I'm enjoying spending more time with her again.
No, I agree. I honestly think that I felt a lot more comfortable with Dawnshard this read through. I think the first time that I read it, I was very overwhelmed with all of the information that was chucked on me. I was like, I'm not 100% sure how to feel about this. Am I stupid? Is it me?
It's the book.
That's really the feeling. I was like,
it's Sando.
I didn't think I was a dumb person. I thought I was relatively intelligent, but that book did not make me feel that way my first read through. And this time I do agree that I feel like there's things that I'm not 100% okay, I know exactly what happened here, right? There's still some things where we need more development here for sure. We need more information. But in general, it did feel like a much more comfortable read through for me on this time than it did on the first one. The first one was rough. It was rough. But I do think it's really important stuff. And I think it focuses a lot on this kind of idea of taking a shard into yourself and being the bearer of the shard, the keeper of the shard, whatever they call that. Because I think that that's a really important thing. And I don't think it's something that we've really focused on really. It's been mentioned, it's kind of come into other books. It's definitely come into other books that are in the Cosmere.
Yes.
That are non-Stormlight books. But yeah, I think that it's nice to have one that's very focused on that, to kind of be okay, this is kind of the concept that we're working with here. We've seen it happen, even if we don't 100% understand it. And so the kind of hearing about it, we have that familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I think that's one important thing that Dawnshard did, is to like really give us familiarity with the fact that people can be bearers of shards, and this is how shards kind of work, and you'll get more later. Kind of is the feeling that Dawnshard has for me. Sorry. Apologies.
Yeah, I would agree. It feels like it kind of cracked open something that we'd not really read about, but it's now so important to, like, you can see it's clearly going to have a significant importance in the rest of the Cosmere, especially with the other Cosmere book we are referencing. So I feel like it's going to be big in Winds and Truth.
I think so too. And I do think that you pick up on things more when you get these books that focus on it a little bit more, you know, because I think there's so many subtle hints that he drops of things to come, right? That you may not necessarily notice until he does something that's like, okay, I'm going to just drop it on you like a brick.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
So now when you see,
anymore.
it's like now you see little hints, you'll actually pick up on them, because clearly you're not picking up on them already. So
yeah, I haven't been getting enough theories about this. Maybe I need to really throw some stuff in here.
Right, like only the hardcores are putting out theories. I need to make this easier for the apparently less intense Sanderson fans.
I feel like
it does feel like this book is like, and I call it a book rather than a novella, because really it's a book. It does feel like it was partially written for the Cosmere scholars, at least.
Yeah. I feel like so much of the Cosmere goes right over my head. Like often I'm just reading for a good time. Like, have you seen that TikTok video that's gone viral recently of like, I love being a dummy reader? I feel like that's me reading the Cosmere. Like I
haven't seen it, but I know like that feel of it where you're like, I'm not going to make my brain actually understand these things. Yeah. I'm just going to read enough to understand and enjoy the story, but I'm not going to get everything.
Yeah. I feel like that's me. I try sometimes, but I feel like it just all goes over my head. Though definitely picked up more on reread, which is awesome, which is the benefit of reread.
I felt that way a lot. Like I feel like particularly Rhythm of War. Let's just jump into Rhythm of War. I feel like I want to jump into it. Like we can go back to parts of Dawnshard if we want to, but I need to get into it. I feel like particularly reading Rhythm of War felt very similar to reading the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. Where you have so much focus on like the science behind things, and they like really dig deep into it, even though it's not like necessary 100% for like us to understand the story, you know, but they still do it and like really put in a ton of the science behind it. It really reminded me of that feeling that you get when you're in the Ken Liu books as well, when you're getting those like inventors talking about how their inventions work. And to me, I'm just like, invention works great.
I believe you.
Yep, you're like, it works. Yeah. Yay, good job. You're smart. I am not. Onward.
I believe that you've thought this through, so we're good.
It's kind of how I feel sometimes when like Navani is talking about the Fabrials and how they work and stuff, and then I'm just like, one goes down, one goes up. Got it. Yep. I got that much. Like it kind of makes you realize how intelligent Brandon Sanderson must be. Like if dude wanted to be like an engineer or something, he could pull that off. You know what I mean? Like if you can make up this kind of stuff, you gotta be so smart.
100%. And I felt the same about Ken Liu. That's actually really, I'd never made that connection before, but now that you say that, it's so true. And I know that people like in my Fable group struggled with some of Navani's chapters because it was so like info dump heavy.
Yes.
And I feel like that's one where you just have to kind of read as a dummy reader. Like I just enjoyed it because I really liked Navani as a character. So I really enjoyed those. And I like this kind of focus on creation and ingenuity and like how smart she is. Like I could appreciate through reading it how intelligent of a character she was. And that's what I kind of gleaned from it. And you can't get like bogged down by what she's actually doing. And I felt the same in the Dandelion Dynasty. You got to just kind of go with it.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I feel like I enjoyed Navani's chapters a lot more this time. than I did the first time through. Because I think the first time through, I did read a little bit more like that, where I was like, I don't even really know what's going on. Like, we're going to get to the end where you tell me what it does, and then, like, that's about it. But in this one, I actually feel like I kind of paid attention a little bit more, and I did read it really quickly. For those of you who, I talked about this before we went live. So for those of you who watched it, I read it in 3 days. I finished it like at 4 a.m. So this is it was like a very focused read. And I think it actually helped me to understand the stuff that Navani was doing a lot more, because it didn't feel like there was really that much time in between them. Because I feel like before, right, like if I would take my time with it, I would kind of forget some of the like explanations she'd given in some of the other chapters. And like, it just kind of felt like I was trying to remember a lot about how things worked. Whereas in this read, I read it more quickly, and it seemed to make a lot more sense that way. But
yeah,
Navani, that is one of the characters that I really wanted to talk about in this one.
okay.
Because I find it so interesting how in this book, she finally gets the chance to be so smart, and yet you can see the entire time how she is being manipulated, and it's like she just lets it happen because she just wants to be smart and have her dream happen finally. What do you think about that?
I am a Navani stan. I love her. I generally, though, she's very much in the kind of character archetype that I really resonate with, which is like older, very intelligent female characters is kind of my favorite archetype. And so I was drawn to her for that. I also think I was drawn to her because when she started being fleshed out more, I found it very refreshing. So I was so annoyed with Shalon at the time. And so it was refreshing to have just a different female perspective. But I do think that it's very interesting, like, for how smart she is. I do feel like I'm like, are you aware of what's, like, how aware are you that you're kind of being, like, brought, like, manipulated? Or are you, like, I don't know how to describe it. I'm like, she must be aware. She's
right?
Just, like, so passionate. Yeah.
What I kind of feel is, like, she knew and, like, intentionally was like, I don't care. Like, I want to make the discoveries that I want to make. I know I'm being manipulated, and I'm going to do it anyway. And I find that to be such an interesting choice. Because, like, there's no way she didn't know she was being manipulated. Like, she acts surprised and she acts a little, but I'm like, how can you not know she's manipulating you? Like, clear, like, it's so obvious. Like, there's no subtlety to it, right? Like, she's so obviously being manipulated. So there's no way Navani, who is like one of the most intelligent people in this world, does not recognize that, right?
Yeah.
It's like she intentionally made the choice to let herself be manipulated because she wanted to do it more than she cared about being manipulated.
Do you think it could be that she felt like if she kind of went along with it, she would be able to figure out a way to kind of break out of it or kind of like fight back or something? Though actually it does really mirror how she was with Gavilar. Like,
That's
you
what I
saw
was
a glimpse of that in the prologue, where she was also like very much kind of not manipulated, doesn't feel like the right word for that dynamic, but she was kind of like woefully blind to some of the things that he did. And it felt very intentional that she just didn't see that.
Yeah, she just, like, she knew he was doing it, and, like, she just kind of let him do it anyway.
Yeah. And chose not to comment on it, chose to just kind of pretend it wasn't happening.
Right. And she chose to, like, go along with what he wanted to. Like, she may argue with him or, like, you know, how she talks about how they get in their fights and they, like, will stab at each other where it hurts the most, right? Which is true. But ultimately, she did what he wanted. Like, she went along with what he wanted, and she was the good queen, and she took care of his, like, all the kingdom things that needed to be done. It's like, ultimately, she let herself be told what to do because it was ultimately what she wanted to do anyway.
Yeah. I think she's just really used to being manipulated, unfortunately, and being used. So she's kind of found ways to achieve her own goals within that kind of a dynamic. So I think it's probably just a case of familiarity for her, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So she doesn't even necessarily, I think, really question that that's the way it is, because it's just the way it's been for her.
I did really love getting her perspective of Gavilar, because he's so lauded and so revered by so many people, Dalinar included. Like, well, I guess you can see that he saw through him a little bit, like in Oathbringer and stuff, but I just loved getting Navani's POV. I feel like that really rounded out who Gavilar was, and that he wasn't this kind of lawful good king.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think every beginning chapter, like every prologue, right, has made me just hate Gavilar more and more. Like each one. Like the first one, you don't really know anything, right? Like you just know that he gets killed. And that he like asks him to like pass on the message, right? Like that's kind of all you get. So you're just like, whoa, that was crazy, right? But then the next one, you're like, ooh. And then the one after that, you're just even more like, ugh. And then this one, you're like, okay, I really hate this guy.
You're the worst.
Yeah, you're like a horrible person. So I'm intrigued to see who we get, because the final book essentially is supposed to follow Szeth, and we're supposed to get a lot more focus on him and his story and his backstory. But we already got Szeth's perspective on that night. So whose perspective are we going to get? And I haven't read any of the prologue chapters because I didn't want to read them before I did like this reread in these live shows and stuff, because I didn't want any spoilers. So I don't know who the prologue is, but I'm assuming we do know at this point because he's released it. But
and I know who it is.
Don't tell me. So you can't
guess.
And
I won't if you don't want to.
Who do I think it is going to be? Maybe like Adolin, because I feel like I don't even know where he was during all of that. Do we? Was he even there?
No, I mean,
he must have been there.
He must have been there, but we don't hear anything about him.
Maybe we'll get Gavilar's.
That's what I'm thinking. Is
we're gonna okay, sorry. That's what I think. That's my vote.
That's what I was thinking too. I'm so glad that we think the same thing. And Sophia's over here like, I know something you don't.
I know, try to read her reaction. I'm so excited though to see more of Szeth's POV. And
me too. I'm really interested about his past, because it's just like, especially just because we just don't know that much about the Shin in general.
No.
I don't think I like the Shin too much.
No.
From what we do know about them.
No.
They just seem very odd.
Yeah.
Like, very mean. Like, what they did to Szeth, like, that is horrible. That is, like, evil. That is actually evil, what they did to Szeth.
Yeah. And the rock is his, like, stone, his oath stone is just a stone. Like, that was boggled my little brain.
Like, I honestly feel horrible for Szeth. Like, this poor guy, I think worse than Kaladin. He has had it worse than Kaladin, I think. Like, his entire people betrayed him.
And then he's just been, like, used.
Yeah.
Which I know Kaladin has a lot too, but he's had like, zero control over himself for years and years and years.
Yeah, and it's like the people that you loved and trusted the most in the world did this to you intentionally, like knowing that what they were doing, and did it anyway. I'm like, oh, poor little Szeth.
Although we feel bad for Szeth, he's killed so many people. But that's fine.
I love him.
I still like him. I know, you're right. All of them. Like, I mean, Dalinar is the questionable one for us to still like, actually, if we're thinking about body.
I love him.
They could never.
You could never make me hate Dalinar. I really don't care.
He's your favorite.
I just did my Oathbringer reread. I finished it yesterday. So I think it was like a couple of days ago that I was reading the Rift scene. And every time in between, I forget how bad it was. Like, so bad.
Very bad.
I know, every time, like, my friend was reading it, and she texted me, she's like, I can't believe he burned the Rift. Like, oh my gosh, Dalinar I'm like, He's still my favorite. Like,
So bad.
I'm like, am I a terrible person?
I know. No. Oh my god. No, Dalinar is. I would love. Has Brandon Sanderson ever done interviews and like that? Maybe he'll do it after book 5 when he takes like a break from Stormlight and he can kind of comment on it retrospectively. But it was a very interesting decision to make him have such a violent past, and then now he's kind of the hero of this story.
Yeah, he really is. He's like the moral compass of this entire war.
Maybe it's like about redemption or something. Maybe that was the intention, but I'm like, that's a lot of people you killed.
You're kind of just like
a lot of people.
That was a lot of death.
Oh, God.
A lot of blood on your hands, Mr. Dalinar.
Yes, just a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I know, right?
Oh, bless you.
Oh, sorry, I know, I'm sick.
Oh my God.
Sorry for being sick.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, I'm so annoyed. You know what? Since my whole office gave it to me, I'll probably just call in sick tomorrow.
Good for you.
You should.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're gonna move on to another character that I kind of want to talk a little bit in here. Shallan.
Okay.
Shallan, I feel, has been just like, like for my enjoyment with her. Because like first one, she was fine. Like I didn't dislike her. She was fine. It was whatever. I found her chapters very interesting because I was really interested what was going on with her and Yasna. So like I was fine with her. The second book, loved her. Third book, hated her. Like could not stand that girl. I was like, please stop giving me Shallan chapters. And now this one, again, really dislike her for the majority of the book still. Like she just was irritating beyond like anything. But I want to ask, I thought, and this is coming from my first read of it, not this reread. I thought we were already aware that Shallan had killed her first cryptic and then bonded a second one. Like when I was reading Words of Radiance, I thought that we knew that she'd killed him and that she got a new one.
I don't think
because I thought that the whole time. I literally thought that from Words of Radiance onward.
Maybe you picked up on something.
And this is, I actually, when I was rereading, maybe it was, it must have been Words of Radiance. Was it? No, it wasn't. It was when I was reading the beginning of Oathbringer. Patton is like apologizing to Shallan for and saying, you know, I know you hate me because of his part in her mother dying. But I was like, why is he apologizing? Because it wasn't him. So I don't know if that's Sando hadn't decided that yet, or Patton just knew that Shallan wasn't ready to know that actually she killed not only her parents but also her first spren. And so he was taking responsibility for it, so to save her that pain. I don't know.
Because I remember this time reading through, I tried to find it. Because I felt like when I was reading Words of Radiance, and then that's what I thought happened, is that she killed her first friend, and then she like bonded a new one, or like somehow they came back or something. Like I knew that she killed him though. And so,
yeah, I mean, there are definitely
I tried to find it, and I couldn't. When we were doing this reread, I was trying to find why I thought that all along. Because I remember when this reveal came, my first time through, I was like, "Yeah, we already knew that."
Oh, I was flabbergasted the first time I read it.
I went and looked that up after I read this, and everyone, like, no one. I was like, and so this reread, I tried to find it, and I couldn't. Like, why did I think that since Words of Radiance?
Maybe he put some foreshadow in, like in book one, that you might have picked up on, like immediately. Because I feel like sometimes you like inherently pick up on things.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Like he is one, unless to Sophia's point, he hadn't planned it yet. He's generally puts like so much foreshadow in his book, and you can see that like reading book one, having like rereading book one. So it could be that you picked up on something, but I definitely was. I mean, I'm not great at picking up on things, so it could be that.
I don't pick up on a lot of things too. But this one, I just swore it had happened. And then on this reread, I was trying to like figure out why I thought this the whole time.
Yeah.
And I could not find
there
it.
definitely are hints. Like she talks about how she doesn't ever want to go into her dad's office or room or whatever it is because there's this bright light in there. And then of course in Rhythm we find out that that's because it's the shard blade from her first Spratton that she could still see. And even before she bonds Patton, she's able to, when she's in Cobranth, before she ends up in hospital in the first book, she's thinking about the 10 heartbeats to summon her blade, but oh wait, I don't need to wait the 10 heartbeats, but I do anyway. And she didn't even have Patton at that point, so it's probably just that you were like, well,
right. I never, because I remember that moment with the 10 heartbeats, and I was like, oh my god, she's a Radiant as well. But I never questioned that she didn't actually have, she hadn't had Radiant yet. Ooh, good one.
Yeah. I don't know.
To answer your question about Shalon in general, I followed a very similar to you. Did like neutral to like-ish from in book 1, loved her in book 2. She drove me insane in book 3. And book 4 on my first read, I would agree, maybe like 60-70% of the book, she was driving me crazy. But when she kind of breaks through, you find out about her her original cryptic. Like I did find that a very, very powerful moment the first time I read it. And I was like, okay, I feel like I finally get Shalon. She's been through so much. I can understand why she's like created these other personas as like a safety behavior and defense mechanism. Like I feel like I've had a breakthrough with her. And through the end of the book, I really quite enjoyed her chapters. But that did not carry through on my reread. I think we might have talked about this like way back.
Yeah.
I thought that would hold and I would enjoy her in books 1 and 3. I did not. Disliked the whole time. So I don't know where I stand with her now.
I just feel like book 3, she was the worst. And this one, like towards the beginning, she was. And honestly, I don't think I like this thing where she's just like internally talking to herself all the time. Like I found it very irritating.
Like when she's talking to the other personalities?
Yeah, when the different personalities are like talking to each other and like doing, I was like, this is really annoying to me. Like I feel like I couldn't feel any connection to her necessarily as a character because she wasn't a character, right? Like she was all over the place. And like, so I just didn't have any real connection to her. Because like I really enjoyed Shalon and Adolin. I thought they were cute. I really loved how much Adolin loved her and how he wanted to be like better for her and like, you know, just like she made him better. And I just kind of feel like it wasn't like that in this book. Like Shalon almost avoided Adolin all the time and I hated it. I was like, don't do that. I love poor Adolin. Like, don't treat it like that.
He's trying so hard.
Such a sweetie.
Yeah.
It is incredibly realistic, though, to DID. Like, and I just think it's. I don't like Shalon as a character, and I haven't from book 1. I tolerate her. That's about it. But the representation that he's managed to achieve with her character is fantastic. It's really, really well done.
I've heard that as well. And I think that's why I feel badly that I don't like her character because I have heard that. And I've heard that it's been represented incredibly well, like from people in that community. And I think that's such a feat that he's been able to accomplish that. And I think it's amazing to have that representation in a book. But I didn't like her other personalities. Like I wanted her to be her, which I guess is part of the story, like her kind of being strong enough to stand on her own and not need the other two. But yeah,
I agree. I mean, like especially Vale. Like Vale was so irritating. Ugh.
Oh my god, yes.
At least we don't have to deal with her anymore.
I know. Radiant was like okay, right? Like I could tell. It's fine.
Very flat, but I think you had a good point, Stephanie, where I think that maybe is why it's so hard to connect with Shalon, because most of our time spent with her outside of like in books 3 and 4 is you don't get her because she doesn't know who she is. Like she's obviously struggling with that. And so but we as a reader can't connect to her because she's 3 different people.
There, really, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, sorry, my neck is sore. I did some bedazzling last night, and I'm definitely feeling it. So, no, it's my own fault. Did this to myself.
This is super off topic, but we'll immediately revert back. But I was thinking about your bedazzling because of your Swiftie outfit on Friday. So I'm by Toronto. And so on Friday, we tried to go into Toronto just to see if we could get cheap tickets. The cheapest it was $4,000.
Yep, I know. I looked too.
Wild. Like I was like, the show started. It was 8:30. $4,000.
Yep.
And we're going for dinner. Sorry, very off topic.
No, I actually looked into going to Toronto because, like I said, I had tickets to Vienna.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just like felt like I missed out, right? Because I wanted to see Tortured Poets. I wanted to wear my outfit that I spent a month making. So I looked into Toronto tickets, and you could buy tickets behind the stage for like $2,000.
Oh, good. Yeah. I know. I love how they would say like non-obstructive view. Like that was such a selling point. I'm like, should they all be unobstructed?
No, some of them were like full on behind the stage.
Yeah. You're just there to listen. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, sorry. Anyways, Brandon, back to Brandon.
Back to Brandon. Oh, no. I'll show you the outfit at the end, but yes. Sorry, my brain is like I for those of you, I did finish it at like 4 a.m. So my brain is not working super, super well right now. I will say the epilogue bugged me in this one. I find it very odd that Wit, who has been doing this for thousands of years, he's been like working with these super intelligent, super powerful beings, was tricked by Taravangian, who's been a god for like 5 minutes.
Which is why I don't think that he was. I think he was playing along to make Taravangian think that he got the better of him. I don't buy it either.
Right, I don't buy it because it doesn't make sense. Like Taravangian has been a god for like a whole 5 minutes. Do you really think he could trick Wit when the gods have been trying for thousands of years? Like it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm hoping you're right, Sophia, because otherwise that's going to drive me nuts. Because I'm like, no.
I just can't imagine it being any other way other than just another one of Hoyd's little tricks or games.
The thing is, we're seeing it from his perspective, though, which makes me think that if he's not, if is what you're saying, where he is trying to trick Taravangian, it's weird to see it from his perspective, because I feel like that's almost it's a technique. It's something that writers do sometimes where you'll like be seeing something from someone's perspective where they actually know the twist, but then the twist comes, but you didn't get it from their perspective as it was happening. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I just feel like if he did that here, it wouldn't make sense the way that he did it.
Unless Todium could read Hoyd's mind.
Or maybe it's something, because I feel this I'm only getting kind of from now the secret projects, but Hoyd's had his like, there's been elements where like things have happened to kind of his mind and his memories and his, so I'm wondering maybe it's something like that, like there's something kind of fogging him maybe, because I feel like that's been a big focus of the or kind of a common theme in the secret projects.
Yeah, that's true. And the secret projects do well, I guess I can't say, I don't know when all of them take place, in all honesty, but we know at least one of them takes place after the Stormlight Archive, at least this first arc.
I think that they all do.
I think they all do too. I'm not 100% positive though, so I don't want to like
after all of them, like after book 5 theoretically too.
After book 5.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay. I haven't read Sunlit Man yet.
Oh,
I know, I need to.
Definitely need to read that.
I know.
you
That's what
haven't read Sunlit Man?
I literally had it on my TBR, but you know what it is? It's because I've been reading Sanderson literally all year, so I haven't wanted to be reading two at once, to be honest. Like I was a little bit tapped out, and so I've just not been drawn to read it, but I need to. I need to read it like before December 5th.
I would think so.
I know that's what everyone says. I was literally going to ask you today to like confirm that I need to read it, and your reactions are telling me that yes, I did.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend that you do.
Okay, good to know.
There's definitely some intriguing tidbits
know.
that
for
you
sure.
can pull out there.
Okay, good to know.
Oh,
Okay.
my husband's reading Rhythm of War right now.
Mm-hmm.
He has not read Warbreaker.
Oh.
I rereading it this time, I'm like, there's so much Warbreaker connections in this
There's
one. Like,
a fair amount of Elantris as well.
fun. Yes, there is
Rhythm
Elantris
of
too.
War.
Yes, but I feel like there's a crazy amount of Warbreaker connections
yeah.
actually, like insane.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
and so I'm like, he doesn't get it. Like the scene with Swordmaster Zyle, like he didn't get any of that. He doesn't get any of like the breath stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't get Nightblood at all.
Yeah. Oh my God,
I mean,
true.
does anyone really get Nightblood?
Oh my gosh, he's so cute. I love Nightblood.
I love him too.
I love it. It's like, Sword, I told you not to talk to other people, Sword Nimi. It freaks them out. He's like, oh yes, I remember. I just forgot.
He's so sassy. I do love a sentient sword.
I love the sentient sword. Oh my gosh, I have the little Nightblood from the Year of Sanderson, you know, the little model they sent out. And my husband's grandkids, when they'll come over and we'll babysit, they love it. Like they'll go grab it every time. I'm like, okay.
I have this guy. Isn't this because I think this is him with Nightblood, right?
Is it?
Isn't it Vasher or whatever?
You're like behind my little StreamYard logo.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think it is, isn't it?
I think it's him with it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Did not everyone get the same enamel pins in the box?
I probably have it.
Okay.
That was box 4. I have them hung up in order.
In order?
I think I missed one of them. I'm worried that I like threw it out in the box, not knowing, or I never got it. I don't know which one, but I only have 3. I have Kaladin, Shallan, and Vasher. I don't have whatever the 4th one was.
Was that the last box?
I think it might have been the first. Well, no,
I think
yeah.
Vin. Yeah, because Vin came in the
first one.
In the one with Tress, right?
Because in the first one, that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, I worry I threw it out because I wouldn't have known to look for it yet. Or it wasn't in the box. I don't know.
You might be able to get it still.
Really?
On their website.
Okay.
They did sell the boxes at the Last Dragon Steel.
That's true.
We can have a look for you if you're not coming. But it was Vin, Hoyd, Steris. I don't know who that is. Oh, that's Vasher. Wax, Raodan, Shallan. Oh, what's her name? Chris, Kaladin. I can't see who that is. Sil, Adolin. I can't see that.
So you must have you got all of the boxes?
Yeah, I got all of them.
I only got the book.
Is anyone surprised?
No, I mean, I bought the full RPG thing.
Oh,
I don't play RPG games.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I have a
Yeah,
problem.
but at least when you buy them all, you don't have to spend the same exact amount of money again on shipping.
I feel you, Sophia. The shipping was insane on these boxes. Oh
That's what people said. Like everyone out of the country.
It's heavy. Like I do get it. I don't feel like we're being fleeced. They're like hefty bucks. It just sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. And his company isn't big enough to like have like
warehouses elsewhere.
Warehouses in other countries so that you don't have to pay that. Like he's not big enough for that. And honestly, he probably never will be.
Yeah.
I think he is working on getting a European distribution center, which would be very helpful because I think it was about $900 on shipping for the Year of the Sanderson.
That's
Yeah.
Mine was like less than 100.
oh,
But I also live like
you could
less
go pick
than
it
an
up.
hour away. So
Can you do a pickup option? No delivery required. I'll come pick it up.
I mean, that'd be lovely. I would definitely go do that. But
Yes.
yeah, no, for sure. Oh, that's so crazy. That's so sad. Oh, that is painful.
But yeah, a lot of now that you list those all out, there are a lot of Warbreaker connections, which I do love. It feels like the last few releases, like Lost Meadow, Rhythm of War, and then now when they've all become
They're
like
really pulling
way,
things
way more
together.
connected. Yeah.
Well, and Sunlit Man.
And okay, Sunlit Man, good to know.
I'm just saying, in Sunlit Man.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Like I was reading it and I was like, pause. Like, what is this one again? Like, I forget this name because like you recognize them, right?
Yes.
But I don't remember all the names for the different people, the different places, the different like all these different things, right? Sometimes I'm like, wait, what book is that from again? And I'll have to like go like, what book is set in this world? And because some of them don't mention them as much, because this one really does. Like Roshar, it's very clear this is Roshar.
Yeah.
Like Roshar is so clear on what planet we're on. But on some of the other ones, you get it a lot less, right? Like it's a lot less in your face what planet you're on. Like if you may have it mentioned once, or even like some of them, it's not even mentioned the name of the technical planet that they're on in the Cosmere. So yeah, sometimes I Googled a couple just to make sure I knew I was right about which one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask you what resource you use. You just Google it because I might have just like copper mine.
And it goes to the copper mine. Yeah. It usually goes there, but I find it's faster to just Google.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause then AI will pull up, be like, oh, so Scadrial is the world that, like that kind of thing. So
okay, cool.
Look it up. Yeah. That's what I do with it. But yeah. Oh, okay. What do we think about Taravangian becoming a god? Because that dude is just like, just won't go away.
But I still like Taravan. It's I have such conflicted feelings about Taravangian because he's terrible, but also I really like him and he's so cute. And even like his I'm gonna cry over someone stepping on a leaf type moment.
He's an interesting character for sure.
Yeah.
He is so odd, but I'm also like, you didn't deserve that. Like you didn't deserve a happy ending, in my opinion. Like I get what you were doing and I get the meaning behind it, but I don't think you deserved it. I don't
think he's got a happy ending necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know that this is going to be a fun trip he's about to take.
I kind of hope not. I hope Dalinar just pummels him.
I think he will. So I think with Taravangian, I had a moment the first time at least I was reading Rhythm of War where it seems like he's down, like it seems like he might finally be out of the game. Dalinar's got it. Yay. Go team. And he really got me for a second. I was like, oh my God, great. Okay, awesome. Don't have to worry about him anymore. Psych, he's a god now. So
you're like, cultivation, what are you doing?
Wait a second.
Get rid of that annoying old man.
I don't know. I find him almost I find him very hypocritical. And I think that makes me dislike him. Because to your point, Sophia, he's like so emo but a leaf. And I'm like, you've killed so many people. Own that. Own it.
When he's talking to Dalinar and he's like, I mean, I may have killed the leaders, but I take no responsibility for the war that followed. What?
Well,
you should take responsibility.
Like I just don't like his hypocrisy. And I feel like someone with Dalinar, where also probably like arguably has perhaps unalived more people or like caused more whatever. I feel like he owns it, and he has so much remorse for what he's done, and he's learned from what he's done, and he has taken that and made it into something, I don't know. Whereas Taravangian's just like, what?
And Taravangian's like, I do it again.
The war?
Yeah. It's like, I didn't actually start the war. I just killed every single leader of the countries. I only take responsibility for those deaths.
Yeah.
Anything that happened after, not mine. I'm like,
what's on you?
Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? That'd be like killing parents and being like, well, the children died afterwards, but that's not my problem.
Yeah, I didn't kill him. Yeah, I do feel like he is very dangerous.
He justifies things so much
because he is such an idealist. He is able to justify everything that he does. And I think that's going to make him a really, really dangerous, like clearly the big bad now going into book 5. So I think that's going to make him like a force to be reckoned with.
Ugh, I want Sword Nimi to just turn around and take him right back out. I love Sword Nimi, by the way. Like, I love Sword Nimi.
Oh, I am so excited to see where book 5 goes.
Yeah, I just don't think book 5 is going to go in any of the directions that we think.
I think we're going to have a different champion than Dalinar. I don't think he's going to actually end up being the champion.
Dalinar. I don't think we're going to have a championship battle at all.
I don't think so, but I think that like the ultimate person who's going to save him is going to be like Renarin or something.
Yeah, like someone out of left field. It'll be like okay, I guess we're not doing spoilers for the whole Cosmere, but like in Mistborn Era 1, where it's not. Yeah.
That's why I'm like, it's going to be like Renarin or like
for sure.
Venli. I hope it's not Venli though. She's actually really annoying to me.
So I have this theory that I have been developing this reread. It's not really a theory, it's just a thought. So you know how Kaladin has this ex-girlfriend, Tara? I have realised this reread that he talks about her, as in Sanderson, not Kaladin, a lot. Like, he mentions her several times in books 2 and 3. And I just don't think Sando does stuff like that for no reason. So I think we're going to see her again. I don't know in what capacity.
Interesting.
But I think we're going to see her in book 5.
Okay.
That's
I like it.
Have you guys seen the theory, or did the theory come from you, where there's this theory out there that Adolin is somehow going to end up as like the champion for Odium? Have you seen that?
That did not come from me, but please no. I love my Adolin.
What are you saying, Sophia? What did you say?
I've heard that too, and I don't agree.
Where's that coming from? Because I was telling someone about that and it like blew their mind, and I was like, oh no, this isn't my theory. I don't actually know. I just heard this from someone.
Yeah. No.
I don't know, but I don't see it.
No,
I really think that we're not going to be surprised necessarily by Odium's champion, but we will be surprised by our champion, in my opinion. Because I feel like I think Odium would probably choose himself, right? Like, why would you not choose, like, why wouldn't you be your own champion if you're a god and you have the power of a god? Or can you not because he can't harm them?
No, he has to choose a champion. But
I
just don't think we're going to end up with any champions.
Do we know who Elle is?
I think that we do, but I can't remember.
Because in my head, I kept thinking, I was like, oh yeah, it's from another book, it's from another book, it's from another world. And then I was like, wait a second. No, it's not. Elle is the god in the Farseer world. And I'm just like putting them together.
Too many epic fantasy series.
And so this whole time I was like, oh yeah, it's from the other world. Oh yeah, it's the god of the other world. There's like Elle and Ida, right? Those are the gods of the other world. I was like, wait.
Different theories.
This whole time, Robin Hobb and Brandon Sanderson.
It's a big conspiracy.
That's my new conspiracy until the very end where he killed the Punisher, whatever his name is, the Pursuer.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't till then when I was like, wait, this is wrong. That's when I figured it out. On this reread. I feel like on the first time through, I don't remember what I thought about Elle. But this time through, I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, yep, I remember that one from the other world. Yep, I totally remember it.
That's hilarious. I actually am surprised it doesn't happen like more often to us as readers. That we're able to like delineate between series is impressive. Go us.
Yeah, but like it's the same name. Right? That's not fair.
That was close. Yeah, some of the theories that were wild. I do agree. I think that both are going to choose a champion. I think we're going to get to that moment of the like championship duel or whatever. And then something's going to happen. Like it's going to be classic Sanderson where it's like, it doesn't even come out of left field. It like comes up from the floor. Like it's so unexpected. I just feel like this one's going to be tricky.
When you think about it, it's obvious.
Yes, exactly. Where it feels like the most obvious thing. How could we possibly have not seen this coming? Yeah. Exactly.
And Elle is a fused who in the false desolation was on the side of the humans and so had his rhythms stripped from him.
Thank you.
Nice.
Because they probably did tell us that at some point, but in my head I just completely threw it out because he was actually a god from another world. Elderlings.
I was thinking that the first time I read it, to be fair. I was like, I know this name. Where do I know this name from? And it just
My brain just accepted it too
around the same time. So
I was like, oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite series of all time, both of you guys?
The God of Passion chooses Aelin. The thing is, I don't think he can force someone to be his champion is the problem. Like, it has to be willing. That was in part of the contract. And I do not think that Aelin would willingly go up to kill anyone that Dalinar could possibly put as our champion. Mm-hmm. So I just don't think it would happen. I don't think it would work. Plus, Aelin may be a good duelist, but he's not a Radiant. He has no powers. Like, he would be a very poor choice because he would get pummeled by any Radiant or any fused, really. Like, Aelin is not that strong now that people have so many powers.
That's true.
Like, his Shardblade can hold, like, he has Shardblade and Plate, so, like, he can still do okay, but if you're choosing an actual champion, he would not be a good choice. He's not strong enough. Mm-hmm. He has no power.
That's true, unless something real wild happens leading up to it. I don't fully understand where the Aelin as the champion theory comes from, like what that's rooted in.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I've heard it, but I don't know the roots either.
Yeah, because it would have to be like some kind of manipulation, or maybe something where like somehow they get hoodwinked into choosing a champion for Dalinar that's like evil in some way. And so Aelin's going to, like, I don't know, like somehow they get reversed or something.
I mean, this is Seth's book. It could be Seth is our champion.
True.
Seth is, I don't think I would trust Seth. He's too much of a wild card. Like, I love him, but I think it's the 5-year-old Gav, aka baby champion theory. That is just mean. Like,
and Aelin would go to sacrifice himself so that the baby couldn't be killed. There you go. That's why he would be Odium's champion. So to protect the baby.
He would do that.
That would be Aelin's thing.
He would do that. Aelin is sweet. I really do like him. I think he's
like
just a good person.
Yeah, he gets a lot of hate.
I know.
It's nice to have a little golden retriever. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's just good, you know? Like, yeah. Did you ask what our favorite series was?
Yes, of all time.
Of Sanderson or anything?
Anything.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's hard.
Because mine is Realm of the Elderlings. That's why it made me think of it.
I see that one is up there. I don't know. I still have one more book to read.
Oh, good luck.
What, of Realm of the Elderlings?
Yeah, Assassin's Fate.
Assassin's Fate. Shoebox ready.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure it's gonna crush me. I'm sure I'm gonna be emotionally devastated.
So good.
Oh yeah, every time. Like she always makes me cry. I'm prepared for it. Yeah. Honestly, I might choose Stormlight. I feel like Mistborn Era 1 is so far up there. Because when I first read it, I like the emotional attachment I have to that series is so strong. But I might choose Stormlight. I love it. It is so good.
It is so good.
What do you think, Sophia?
Oh yeah, Stormlight is mine, but I mean, I reserve my right to change my mind depending on the outcome of book 5.
Well, we only have a couple weeks until we can figure it out.
Certainly I feel like he's gonna stick the landing. I feel like he's successfully stuck the landing. Well, I haven't read Defiant, but the 2 series conclusions that we have that I've at least read from him, nailed it.
Oh yeah, that's not my concern. My concern is how devastating he makes it.
Well, I'm fine with it being devastating. That's totally fine. I've already accepted that probably half of my favorite characters are going to die.
Yeah, I feel like for sure Kaladin's gonna die. Like that feels like the.
I feel like Dalinar's going to die or become something undalinar.
Ooh, my theory.
Well, like the new Stormfather, or maybe he becomes like the new herald that holds people in or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've actually wondered that as well. Like, felt like he was going to be like the connective tissue to the next arc of the series in some way, which means he would have to kind of evolve into some kind of immortal being, whatever capacity that is. I assumed that would be Dalinar. But again, maybe it's going to be someone random. Like, maybe that'll be Renarin.
I think Renarin's going to die.
I think Renarin's significant.
I really don't.
I love Renarin so much is why I think he's going to die. Like, I just feel like they like to kill my favorites.
True.
I feel like we still have too much to find out about Renarin for Sunday to kill him off now.
I think all of us feel that way.
Same. Yeah.
We're irritated.
The redemption moment where she makes everyone fall in love with her and she's amazing and then she probably dies.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that too.
I'm honestly okay with most of them dying. I love Renarin so if I could save one, it'd probably be Renarin.
Huh.
I love Dalinar the most, but I feel like he's the type that would be like heroic sacrifice type dude.
Yes, for sure.
So like I could see him going, and I've kind of accepted that.
I also almost
feel so bad for Navani if that happens.
Yeah. She'll go too.
Real.
He wouldn't leave one of them alive and not the other.
I do feel bad for whoever survives. Like, for part of me was like, oh, I hope Kaladin, but I'm like, I don't hope Kaladin because I feel like I want Kaladin. If he needs to go. I would like he would not survive being the survivor. You know.
Yeah. He would. That's not where he would be happy. He would not.
That would destroy him. So I think he's gonna die. Shallan. I feel like they're all gonna die, or maybe none of them. I don't know. Definitely not none of them, but he's not. He is not a. To the same degree as other authors, he is not a kind of serial killer.
No,
what's the right word choice here?
He does kill like significant, important characters, though.
He does 100%, but he's not like John. Have you guys read much John Gwynne?
I haven't read any.
No,
I have read The Faithful and the Fallen.
Okay, he kills everybody, so I feel like that he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
You never feel safe with him.
He does kill a lot. I will say, I think that we're gonna lose at like half of our mains. Lift will be the only. I bet Lift survives.
Oh my god! Don't even say it.
There's no way that she dies. He loves Lift.
Yeah, and I think she's going to be a bigger part of the next arc.
No. I literally, when you said that, I was like, oh my god, is she gonna be the one that like ascends and is in the second arc? No.
The thing is, she's so different, right? Because they've talked about how she uses lifeline instead of Stormlight, right? And she's been like touched by cultivation, which is the same, right? Like Dalinar, Taravangian, and Lift are the three.
Oh my god, that's right. No. There's no way.
And you watch Taravangian and Dalinar are gonna like go off and be these eternal beings, and then Lift is gonna be like our main hero. Oh no.
I don't think he'll do that because she knows how polarizing she is.
Oh, let's hope.
I don't think he would do that to us. I don't think he wants us to hate the ending of his series.
I wonder how hard that is to when you're writing a conclusion. Like you want to tell the story that you're telling and what you very intentionally curated, but also want it to be something well received by your fandom. That'd be tough.
The thing is, I wouldn't mind if she does jump in somehow to like be a hero, like she goes in and heals and brings someone back or something. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with her having a heroic role, but please do not make her like our main hero.
No. There's no way.
There's no way he would do that. He wouldn't do that. No, we wouldn't do that to us.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I can't believe how close we are to finding out.
I can't do it.
Same.
I can't. I cannot take Lift.
I don't think he would ever. Yeah, maybe he would do one. Yeah, I don't know.
I could see him having a. Actually, I feel like since we got Edge Dancer, we might not get a Lift book. You know how
we could get a book where hers are the flashbacks. I feel like.
Yeah, he would do that.
Possible.
I don't think the thing is, I feel like if he did that, we might have like a Shallan moment, right? Where like that book is the book where we actually like Shallan.
True.
Or that book's the book where we actually like Lift. Is her book.
In Era 2, is it going to be... Because it's not really an Era 2. Like, he's clearly not done this as an Era 2 like in Mistborn. So there is going to be more... Like, it's a continuation. It's book 6.
Yeah, it's kind of like Faithful in the Fallen, right? Where, like, you're kind of following. But I think it's less time in between.
Okay.
Like, I don't think
it's only like 10, 15 years.
Yeah. It's like, we're still going to have some of the same characters.
Yeah.
Do
you think that's why he's because he said recently he's gonna we won't get book 6 for 10 years. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he's gonna make it 10 years in the world as well. That would be really cool.
That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 10 years is so long. What if like something happened?
Robert Jordan does.
Actually, I think I would rather never get book 6 than like get books 6 and 7 and then never get like the last 3. Like I that would be better.
Mm-hmm.
So we all think we'll see Teft again when some of the cast goes to the spiritual realm, right? Oh,
I actually hadn't thought about that, but that would be amazing.
I never even thought about that. I guess since we know that
definitely going to the spiritual realm,
probably. That would be interesting to get some Teft in there. I really do like him as a character in general.
Yeah.
I was so sad when they killed his Spren.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, you heartless monster? I was so happy when he got his feelings back and had to feel the pain of that. I was like, you keep that.
No, that was the hardest death for me.
Yeah.
Was his Spren or him?
Him.
Yeah. That was rough.
I've not been super. Otherwise, this feels like he hasn't killed a ton of characters that I've felt connected to, other than Teft.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. He hasn't really killed off too many yet.
Mm-mm. I remember I think I said that to my friend. I was like, oh no, he doesn't kill many characters, like really at all in Stormlight. And then she was reading through, and like when the king died, or like what's his name? Elhokar. She was like messaging me. She's like, are you kidding me? You said no one died. And I was like, oh, forgot about him.
Elhokar.
I meant no characters I liked died. I hadn't read Rhythm of War yet.
Yeah. No, I agree. I honestly was more shocked when like he actually just like stabbed his friend in the head. I'm like, what did you just do? I'm like, how could you do that? That was horrible. Yeah, I was not okay with that. I was not okay with that at all. And that's one of the things that I'm kind of a little like, when Dalinar was like, oh, Navani, you're so smart. Navani, you're so good. Like all these things to her. I'm like, you realize Navani like gave them the power to kill the Spren, right? Like she gave it to him. Almost knowing what she was doing. Like she knew that the odds of her being able to keep it a secret were slim to none. And she did it anyway. Like she gave him the power to kill Spren. That's kind of a big deal. And we just glossed it over, I feel like. Like Dalinar was just like, oh, it was almost like he didn't know. Which I'm sure he did know, but he was just talking about like how brilliant she is. I'm like, your brilliant woman just gave him the power to kill all of our allies.
True.
But also, she's always been a bit sort of loose with the lives of Spren. I mean, her whole career, if you can call it that, has been about literally imprisoning Spren. So,
yeah, that is awful. Once you get to know the Spren more, you realize how awful the Fabrials are.
Yeah, because like the sibling was saying, some of them are okay with it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll take this job because it like gives me a connection to the world, and I want that," and so they're fine with it. But the ones that you catch, not necessarily, and like she said, it's like using horses to pull carts or whatever it is. Yeah, but how do you know that some of them aren't? but also you're like just trapping them in like a little ball. I don't know.
I do feel like it'll come together. Like something that I love about Sanderson's writing, and because we've read so many of his books, like everything is tied up. Well, I guess with this one, probably everything won't be tied up to the same degree since it will be continued. But I do think a lot of these things he will, like he always addresses, it feels like everything.
Yeah, I think so. I think he ties a lot up. So the spiritual realm. I do think we probably will see something, or maybe that's something he'll save for the second arc. Maybe we'll focus more on the ones that we have now. Yeah, or Dragonsteel. Maybe he's saving spiritual realm. I could see that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see him saving it. Because there's so much that we still have to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can really give that a lot of exploration. Maybe we can, though. Rhythm of War is my least favorite book, unfortunately, but still way better than a lot of other books. I don't know. Where would you rank it in the Stormlight books? Not including the novellas, because I feel like those are hard to rank with like the actual books.
I flip-flop between having Rhythm of War or Way of Kings first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like Rhythm of War. I think on reread hit quite the same, but I think it's still my favorite. I really did like the exploration of Navani. I feel like this was finally where I like really, really fell in love with Kaladin. And I just enjoyed the setup of this one. I think it's either you love or you hate like the tower focused chapters, and I really love those. So it's one of my favorites. And then then Words of Radiance.
I think Words of Radiance is my favorite. I just love it. I feel like it has such a great Sanderlinch too. But honestly, I actually feel like one of my favorite scenes ever in a book, though, is in Way of Kings. When Dalinar is fighting on the plateau and then he sees the bridge crew coming back.
So good.
Like that, I don't know if there's a better scene, is when he's like turning and he actually sees the bridge crew coming back and realizes they're actually coming back for him. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That is such a good moment.
Oh, it's so good. So good. I only cried during Kaladin's little experience with Tien in the storm. That was the part that I cried at in this book. I loved it.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Or very like emotional. I loved his like level up in this book. That's my favorite of Kaladin's oaths. That moment was so good.
Yeah. I don't really cry. Just in general.
Oh.
including when I'm reading. But I feel like this reread, I always find Kaladin relatable. But I think this reread, it has been stronger than previously. And I think that's probably because I've had more serious experiences with depression since the last time that I read the series. So I think that Rhythm of War is going to hit a little harder this time, maybe.
Yeah. I definitely see that. Yeah. He's just a sweet little depressed Kaladin.
Little bridge boy.
Such a precious boy.
Oathbringer. Ooh. Do we have all of them then? So you Rhythm of War, Words of Radiance, Way of Kings, and Oathbringer.
There you go. Split.
The split. I hope we find out what Stormwalkers are. It probably is a 6 to 10 thing. I feel like so many of these things that we want to explore more. I'm like, we only have one more book, and we have so much to explore already. I think there's
going to be a lot that he leaves for the back half, I reckon.
I think so too. I think
agree. That we'll get some resolution with Odium, and I think we'll get some resolution with what happened with Gavilar. But I don't think we're going to get resolution on the Oath Pack stuff, because that feels quite big. I feel like that's going to wait.
See, I think we're going to get more resolution on I would think we're going to get Oath Pack resolution more and leave some of the Gavilar stuff
Oh,
for the
really?
next one.
Interesting.
I don't know. I could see him going so many different ways because there's so
Yeah.
many things that could be the answer to how this one ends. But there's so much out there that you know he can't
Yeah.
cover it all. So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, this was really fun. Glad that we could chat about it. I'm really excited for the next book to come out. We have like, what, 2 weeks? So I'm excited for it. And thank you all, everyone, for joining. This was really fun. And I will see you all in the... Well, actually, this is the last one. Maybe we'll do a live show for book 5 after we've all read it. That'd be fun.
That's a good idea. That'd be fun.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Sounds good. Bye.